I had this thought while you were saying that. Leadership, in my mind, is like offensive line play. When it's good, you don't notice it. When it's bad, it stands out. And what Aaron Rodgers did Monday night, no matter what he said yesterday, it stands out. If anything, his effort to explain it away made it worse. And I also had a thought yesterday, Michael, that I think back to last week and the things Aaron Rodgers said and didn't say after the firing of Robert Saleh. And he made such a big deal about being mad, the how dare you suggest I made this happen. It obscured the fact that he could have saved him if he wanted to. And I think the end result for Aaron Rodgers, I think the way his brain works, he realized, you know what I got now? I got to pass for this season. Because if things don't work out, I can eventually say, what do you expect? They fired Woody Johnson 6 weeks in and expected us to adjust on the fly. Why did he do that? It's his decision. That's what he said, like his decision. I don't have any role in it. It's his decision. So now he's got that in his back pocket. If this thing goes sideways, even though he's now the heart and soul of the team, he's the face of the team, he's the guy stirring the pot, if it doesn't work, it's all because they fired Robert Saleh. If we just would have kept Robert Saleh, this might have worked out. We might have made the playoffs. We might have made the AFC Championship. We might have won the Super Bowl. So I think that's ultimately why there was kind of a weird sense of calm from him last week once he, chastised anyone who dares say he wanted Saleh out, because this gives him exactly what he wants. He can't be blamed, and he can take all the credit.
Well, it's a nice thought from him, but he will be blamed. If it doesn't work out, it will come back on him. This season is all about taking advantage of Aaron Rodgers and his closing window. He's 40 years old. So if it doesn't go well for the Jets, no one's going to say at the end of the year, if they wind up, my prediction, 9-8, they wind up 9-8, the number 7 playoff team or the 8th team just outside of the playoffs, no one's going to say, hey, Aaron Rodgers did his job. It really is on Breece Hall or Jeff Albrecht. It'll come back to him, no matter what happens. It's on him. It's the season now.
They have the vibe of a team to me, and this is one of the products of following the Vikings very closely for the last 50 years. They've got the vibe of a team who can maybe get it together and take a playoff spot and then get blown out no later than the divisional round.
Yeah.
That's what makes it so compelling when you see a team sneak in like his Packers did. That's the only thing that I'm keeping an eye on here. Maybe he ends up with the ultimate bookend to the 2010 season where they snuck in, they caught fire, he caught fire, and they won game after game after game. And if you look at the instances where, Michael, a team who is one of the last in gets hot, they typically get great quarterback play from a great quarterback, from a Ben Roethlisberger like the Steelers did in 2005 when they were the 6th seed and they ran the table. Eli Manning, 5 seed, a couple of times and rose to the top. They weren't the 5 seed in 2011. They were the 4 seed, but they still had to go on the road for a couple of games, and he got hot. So it can happen. It's not impossible. It's not impossible. But they feel like a team that's going to be up and down all year long. And the biggest tragedy for Monday night in the, limited scheme of things, Rodgers played like vintage Aaron Rodgers, and they lost. They need to win those games when he's on it like he was on Monday night, because as we've seen this year, some weeks he's going to be on it and some weeks he isn't.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned that game, that season, that 2010 season, because I was at the game where the Packers, I think the Falcons were the 1 seed that year, and the Packers were the best 6 seed ever. It was just so strange. It was just a weird alignment where they wind up at number 6. And it was, I would suggest it was the best game I've ever seen Aaron Rodgers play. And that's not going to happen again, because if you go back and look at that, Aaron Rodgers was able to move around the pocket then like he can't now. And he still has a good arm, but the way he was able to just operate that offense was crazy. Mike Smith was the coach of the Falcons at the time, and it may have been right after that game or the next day. He said he couldn't wait to just go look at, and his team lost, couldn't wait to look at the film to kind of dissect what the surgeon, Aaron Rodgers, had done to them. They had no answers for him. It was amazing what he was able to do. So I just don't think he's got the knowledge, he's got the institutional knowledge, all of that. He's savvy. But this Aaron Rodgers is not that Aaron Rodgers. So I just don't think he can carry a team like that, like he did. Okay, so that guy was like to use Madden number, that guy was a 99 out of 100 on Madden. This one's a 90 or 89. And those 10 points make a huge difference.
That's a great point. That's an excellent point. And the other thing, too, Michael, the injuries are going to pile up. He's getting banged around every week. And when you're 40, you don't recover. And if there's a cumulative effect, he's going to be 41 in early December. At some point, he's going to take one of those hits. And I don't know whether it's any Ben Roethlisberger embellishment that we're seeing from him when he lets out the big scream when he twists his ankle or whatever the case may be. But he clearly has had multiple injuries so far this year. He's one snap away from something that is going to put him on the sidelines for an extended stretch, the rest of a game, another game beyond that. And he's fearless in that regard. I give him credit for that. He's not shying away from it, but we have to factor that in because 28-year-old Aaron Rodgers isn't in that same jeopardy as soon-to-be 41-year-old Aaron Rodgers.
And the other thing, Mike, do you think the Jets are capable? I just thought of this. Are the Jets capable of changing their identity in season? We know they changed their coach, and Albrick, their head coach, is a defensive guy. But can they change their identity in season and be successful? Like you add Devontae Adams. So you got Devontae Adams, Garrett Wilson, and Allen Lazard. It's pretty good. Breece Hall and Braylon Allen. Okay, got a really good stable of offensive playmakers. But defensively, a few times this season, I've seen the Jets just kind of get pushed around. We know the San Francisco game, San Francisco did, and I know it was early in the season, but San Francisco did whatever they wanted to do against the Jets, and that's without Christian McCaffrey. And I think in this game, Buffalo got it when they needed it. Ray Davis getting 150 yards from scrimmage, your backup, the backup running back. So if they need to get into 30 to 27 games, they may become that team. I don't know. Can they do that? If they need to win some shootouts, I can see a Jets fan saying, wow, we're in position to win shootouts. Our offense has been awful for 5 years. That's the good news. Bad news is that's not really what our calling card was supposed to be. It was supposed to be Aaron Rodgers. If we get to 20, we shut other teams down because our defense is supposed to be top 5 in football.
Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.